Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Tuesday, March 17th. We're going to take a look at the markets the way we usually do, the indices, indicators, some key ETFs, and then we're going to look at four stocks: Silver, Wheaton, SanDisk, Seagate Technologies, and Twitter. Okay, we're going to start off here with the Dow, which was down 128 points today. And again, it was a little bit lower. It was the price action is very similar to Friday's, although we didn't bounce back quite as strong the way we did on Friday. So this is going to be interesting, at least on the Dow. Let's move to the S&P 500. Now, on the S&P 500, we did bounce back a little bit stronger. You can see how the low and then where we did close. Let me zoom in a little bit. And we now have two consecutive closes above the 10-day exponential moving average, so above the blue line. So the market, the broader measure, broader than the Dow, is trying to get its feet underneath it here. It looks like it's trying to turn back higher. The NASDAQ, even stronger looking in terms of the price action of the last 2 days in here. So let's see, the New York Composite, I've got the McClellan Oscillator. Let's come back to that. And the New York Composite is also very similar to the S&P 500 in that we got two consecutive closes above the 10-day exponential moving average. Now, this is not a super bullish type bar here today. Not as strong looking couple of bars as the NASDAQ seem to be, but definitely looks like it's trying to come back. And again, this is going to be, I would put this down here as a wave 2. I think it's trying to stair step its way up. We will see. Russell 2000, nice look at this engulfing type bullish bar versus yesterday's price action. Yesterday was kind of a small doji type bar on the Russell 2000, so nice bullish move right in here. And actually, may have gone to a new high. And I didn't. Let's see, 1242.62. No, not quite. We're fractionally off a new high. So that's pretty nice move, pretty strong. I mean, if you come back to S&P 500, we're not even close to doing that. So let's see, short-term index, right in the middle again, right here in this no man's land. The VIX, again, the VIX just doesn't seem to be putting in what looks like to me strong bullish type bars. You can see these big white bars, moving up. Granted, we had a pullback here, and same thing that happened in this sequence. We're just not seeing it in this sequence in here. And then today, the market's down 125 points on the Dow, and the VIX is only up 0.05, basically unchanged. So you can see it gapped up and then just sold right on back down. So again, we're not getting any kind of bullish action in here on the VIX. It doesn't look like, which kind of bodes and makes me feel like, again, the market is trying to turn back higher. High-low, we're just chopping sideways a little bit here. There were 31 more new highs than new lows for the day. A little bit of a pullback, and again, just kind of sideways moving over the last several days. Let's see. Now I want to go back to the VIX. So to the New York Composite, and I'll go to the McClellan Oscillator. And this, I may have had this when I did this on the weekend. I thought I had a reading over 0, but sometimes what happens is late in the afternoon, early in the evening, the reading you get and the data you get hasn't been the final reading yet on advanced decline and advancing volume, declining volume, and they keep tweaking it and settling it, and it doesn't really settle till a little bit later in the evening. So depending on when you grab that data, it affects how this McClellan Oscillator looks. But I think this is pretty close to final. We're right in here, -66.7. So we're still below 0. We bounced kind of a W type bottom in here, a little bit distorted, but we bounced off the oversold area and look like we're trying to push higher. Again, when you get this kind of inverted fishhook type of look, that tells me, I mean, that makes me think that the next move is to the upside. And just kind of like, you know, when you see this fishhook action here, and I've talked about this before, I mean, this then looks like the next move is coming to the downside, which it did. And same thing here. Well, this is kind of in reverse. So that's why I'll be looking for the market to move up on the next move. All right, so that's it on the indicators. Let's jump in and take a look at the high yield bond fund. Here we go. And again, this pulled back for the last 3 days. And I thought we were bouncing off this trend line. Now we pulled back down below it. So we'll see whether or not we get support in here. So this is kind of confirming that sell off, the risk off type of mode. The long-term treasury bonds, they've continued to rally, continued this rally after breaking this downtrend line. We've continued to rally up. So interest rates are dropping on the long-term bonds. And the next one is the dollar index. And we got a little bit of a pause today, I believe. Yeah. And let's see. You know, basically unchanged, up 0.006. That's pretty unchanged to me. It's pretty close. So a little bit of a doji, a little bit of a pause bar in here. And we've been outside the Keltner channel, riding the extreme here. And it'll be interesting to see if we pull back down into the middle of the channel, or, you know, what do we do here? I mean, pretty strong move coming out of this consolidation pattern, and we may be starting to form something else in terms of another consolidation pattern. We'll have to watch. The next one is the United States 12-month oil, and again, I like this because this seems to replicate the moves in the oil, crude oil, the best. You don't get into this contango issue that you do like with USO. And so I like this is coming down here just exactly like I thought it was going to, and retesting the low. So we'll see, does it break this low down 22.8499, so 22.85, let's call it. And here we are at 22.94, and the low was 22.94. So we are closed right on the low here and pretty close to breaking the prior low on this. And I think oil settled at like $43 a barrel or something like that. And then the last one we'll take a look at is gold. And there it is. And gold has continued to come on down too. So again, you know, the commodities are dropping. We've got oil dropping, gold dropping. I don't think the low 109.67, the low 109.77. So we haven't taken out this low, but it sure looks like it is going to. Let's take a look at getting a little bit of divergence coming in, but the move hasn't stopped yet. Same thing here. So it's a little bit early to tell based on this move. We'll have to see, but it sure looks like it is about to break that low, which is going to make me change the wave count back over here. And I talked about this before. I mean, this is going to be something different. This A is bigger and is not done. Okay, let's go ahead and dive into silver Wheaton is the first stock we're going to look at tonight. And silver Wheaton, a downtrend again, you know, it's kind of in sync with silver and gold and what's happening in the commodity market. And silver Wheaton's continuing to short-term trend, intermediate trend is to the downside, and the long-term trend is down actually because the 55 is below the 233. And, you know, this is coming down pretty sharply and down here, took out this low, and I expect it's going to be attacking that low. We'll watch to see. Clear three-wave move here, so we're not getting a five-wave move. We're getting a three-wave move, so this tells me, looks like corrective action in here, which means this is resuming the move to the downside. So that's what I would expect to happen based on what I'm seeing. SanDisk. This is one, again, I talked about briefly on the weekend because I've got this on my watch list. I'm actually looking watching for this to close below this 10 and below some key support in here, and to roll back over to the downside, because I think this overlapping type waves, choppiness to the side like this, is corrective action, and therefore the next move I'm expecting to see is to the downside. Seagate Technology. Seagate's one that just really fell out of bed, and after this pullback here, it just collapsed, and again, the trend is really sharp to the downside. The previous low back over in here is right around 50.5, and where are we now? 53.66. 53.66. So, and I'm looking at, you can almost make the case that we've got one kind of sideways, 2, 3, little pullback, 4. So we're maybe working a fifth wave down in this little sequence here. Not quite sure what we've got going on from an Elliott wave perspective. This got really choppy and overlapping. It actually almost looks like, now that I step back, it almost looks like there's some kind of broadening triangle going on of some kind. And what does it mean? I'm not sure. I mean, you could, depending on if you grab this point or whether you grab the point down in here like this, I mean, you can, but it's not super clear. It almost looks like 3 waves, maybe 3 waves. You can almost make the case this kind of 3 waves, but again, not super clear to me. But bottom line is, no matter what it's doing, from some kind of topping formation or whatever the pattern is, it broke down through here, pulled back, and now is in a pretty strong little short-term downtrend. And the last one we're going to take a look at is Twitter tonight. And, this is another one that I really, when they got this sharp move to the upside here, this still struck me as some kind of part of a corrective mode in here, corrective action. I think that, is this all? I think it is. I think this is all the trading on Twitter. I mean, this looks like some kind of big A move to the downside, B, and we're working some kind of resumption trend to the downside. I don't think this is done. This almost looks like a 5-wave A and some kind of zigzag B back up into here, and therefore this would be rolling over into C. Now we did get the moving averages to cross. If that's going to be the case, then this is going to need to resume to the downside, break this, close this gap, and keep, and start the move to the downside. So that's what I'd be looking for in here, based on what I think I'm seeing in terms of the wave count. So we'll see whether it continues to do that or not. Okay, that is it for tonight. We'll be back on, let's see, Thursday with another market update, and we'll check in to see what's happening there. And don't forget, we've got the Federal Reserve, although honestly, somebody was talking about this on television today, and I think I kind of commented about it in one of my posts, that really the Fed can talk about what, potentially raising interest rate and thinking about doing it, but the market's kind of setting a pace. You've got things going on in Europe and other places, but everybody will be focusing on the Fed announcement tomorrow after their 2-day FOMC meeting. So that'll be happening at 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock New York time. So that'll be they'll have markets focused at least for a couple hours, maybe 24 hours. And then we'll go from there. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Everyone have a great Wednesday, Thursday, and we'll talk to you Thursday night.